Well, Niko, obviously we all heard that there was the possibility of you returning to the Twin Cities before the actual announcement was made, but there's nothing like that moment. So for you, what was the emotion and reaction when the offer came from Mark?
You know, it's kind of crazy because, as you know, in this business, you're going through your own journey. At that time, Colorado State, we're in the midst of a Mountain West Championship run, and we're fighting to go to the Sweet 16, and you knew this was on the horizon, and so you've got so many emotions, you know, playing against each other. But I thought it was really cool when I was able to tell my parents and my family, you know, I mean, they kind of knew what was going on, but officially, like, hey, I'm going to take the job at Minnesota. That's a cool moment, and everything's happened so fast, but it's really now just starting to sink in as I'm going back home and getting around and starting to put our fingerprints, you know, on the program. But it was a pretty cool moment.
How much does it make you think about what the journey has been like, student manager, assistant coach, and now back to be the head coach at Minnesota?
Honestly, like I said, it happens so fast, you barely have time to kind of sit and reflect. And I think that it'll really hit home once we start kind of practice in June and you start to get your team there and you start working towards what's next. And it'll really hit home, I think, when we set on the floor next year and play our first game in the barn. I think that will really hit home for me. But it's awesome. It's a dream come true to have this opportunity. And you know, every day something happens. I maybe see somebody I haven't seen for years, or somebody reminds me kind of what's going on in my life. But you know, in our business, you just keep your head down and just keep going.
How crazy has it been in terms of the whirlwind of getting everything set, whether it be finding a place to live, getting the staff situated, making sure you're in the portal at the right time, and knowing that the season gets here a lot faster than we think it does?
Oh my gosh! What's funny is, you know, obviously we had a lot of guys to get in the portal, the staff, all those things. But you've done that before, so you just kind of know what to do. You dive in and do it. I think the biggest challenge now has just been the family piece of it. Is getting my family moved, my daughter's wife, new dog, finding a place to live, them finishing school, us being apart now for an extended period of time, which we haven't been. I think that part's been a challenge, but it's exciting for them too. They've obviously spent a lot of time in the Twin Cities with my family, so I think they're excited about the opportunity too. But I think right now it's just been the challenge of getting the family moved. Everything else is coming into place.
So what's been the approach for you and the staff, specifically first in the portal? What kind of players are you looking to fill what kind of voids?
I think, you know, for us, obviously, I think we had 10 guys to get. We had a couple players that we wanted to make sure that we retained, so that was priority number one. And then it's just going out there and trying to find guys that fit us. And, you know, what do I mean by that? I mean, for me, character's always been a huge piece. We obviously want talented players, skilled players, but we want good guys. You know, I think as we're really trying to build this, we want guys, I think, who will respond to me, respond to our coaching. So I really feel good about the kinds of people that we've got, but we had a whole new team to get. You know, we had to attack every position. I think the other thing we tried to do was really kind of get a mix of some older guys, some guys with multiple years left. You know, because I think the trick to this is, I think the best programs are able to retain their best players. You know, we were able to do that at Colorado State, and eventually we've got to be in a situation where we can do that here at Minnesota. So I think hopefully, even in today's day and age, trying to balance out the roster a little bit, find a mix of some younger guys, some older guys, some guys who can play multiple positions. But it's going to be a whole new look, you know, for us. I need name tags for these guys this year. But like you said, I mean, the season starts quickly. I mean, we're going to have these guys on campus here in a couple of weeks, but you start to get to the point where you're ready to kind of move on with what's next. So excited for these guys to get here and get going.
Well, what's the key to retaining those kind of players? Because those kind of players that you want to keep for multiple years because of their production, because of their character, because of their skill set, are usually the players that are also the most coveted by other schools.
100%. And I mean, listen, we can all talk. We all know what compensation looks like. You know, you've got to be in the ballpark there. I'll say this, though. You know, at Colorado State, we had 3 straight players who were in the NBA Combine and had eligibility left, and none of those 3 won in the transfer portal. And I think that speaks to the culture you have in your program. Do the guys feel like they're getting better? Do they feel valued? Do they feel like they're getting everything they want in your program? And we've got to do the same thing here at Minnesota. And so we were able to create that at Colorado State. We've got to create that same kind of environment here. You know, a place where players love to play. They feel valued. They're getting better. They feel like they can win. where why would they want to go anyplace else? And obviously, the other piece has to be right too, but I also think creating that kind of culture and environment for your players is going to be critical for us.
What kind of style will we see your team play when it's playing the way that you want it to play, when it is playing at its best?
Well, hopefully a winning style, right? But I think, our teams have always been one who's valued moving the ball. We've had great spacing, cutting. Our teams have always been among the leaders in the country in assists to field goals made. I think we play fast where that we've been, and I'm excited to have that, opportunity to do that at the highest level.
When you think about the barn, you think about one of the classic old school, boy, there's not a lot of these left in college basketball kind of arenas. You know it well. What do you want it to be from an atmosphere standpoint when you get there?
Well, I think there's been a lot of talk about the barn because it's old, and I agree with you, though. I think that's one of the unique things to Minnesota is the barn. I think it's something that we have to leverage. We've all seen it when it's full. I think there's ghosts in the barn, and it's an iconic venue in college basketball. And when it's packed and when it's loud, it's an exceptional home court. And so it's our job to put a product out there that people want to come out and watch. And when they do, I think the barn will be as good as a home court as you'll have in college basketball.
We all measure success by wins and losses and how far you get in the conference tournament and the NCAA tournament. How else will you measure success for the program and growth for the program, at least in year one?
I think it's really trying to continue to, build enthusiasm back in the program. Continuing, I think if you want people to invest in what you're doing, you do that through connection. We've got to do a great job as a staff and a program of connecting with our stakeholders, our alumni, get more people back involved, sell a vision that we can be successful and win. And I think as we start to do that, hopefully we'll look back after this year. Hopefully we'll have success on the court, but we'll really feel like we're getting some momentum of getting, our community and our fan base, really back involved and excited about what we're doing. And I think as we do that, then that just positions us to be in a better position next spring. So hopefully we're having the same conversation, really building on something. So obviously it is about wins and losses, but it's also about really, selling a vision and getting people excited about what we're doing. Because I know there's a lot of people who love Gopher basketball, and it's our job to bring them back.